In these following videos that I've created for you, I would love for you to connect with that active energy that you are experiencing when you are feeling various spectrums of anger. So anger is also a secondary emotion, and what's underneath the anger, there might be different layers of various emotions. So like frustration, disappointment, failure. So when you check in your emotional vocabulary sheet, you will see different underlying emotions. And that's the thing. So when we're not helping ourselves to stay true to that sense of anger that comes up first, then we're actually not allowing ourselves to access to all those layers that are underneath. And that's very important because, again, when I access anger and then I also access like I'm actually frustrated about something that is happening, then I am locating myself on the map, like I'm here. Now I know what I can do about it. But when we've been suppressing our anger, this mobilizing energy might feel like too much for our nervous system. So that's why before we can get again to what's known and familiar, which is that shutdown and suppression and shame and guilt, we want to catch ourselves, right? Catch that energy that's coming up, and then use some body or a body to really digest it. Digest a little bit of that high charge. So that's why these movements, they are there for you to practice, and you don't have to necessarily like sit and wait until those situations come and you actually feel that high charge anger energy in your body, and then you're gonna do those movements. But see if you can just practice these movements as if you were angry, right? As if you were experiencing that charge. So that's why you will notice that these movements all designed to help you create that, basic instinct, like pushing the wall and maybe making a sound, or like there's different variations of like punching. So, and like you want to punch and create that distance, like this is the boundary that I'm creating. That's why it's like, ugh, right? So allow yourself to be in those, just like a mammal, right? Like if you didn't have a person who triggers you, or if you didn't have a situation and this is just the energy you're dealing with, allow the body to experience the effects of it and then reflect. So that's why these movements are about 30 to 60 seconds. You don't want to do them too much and too long. And I invite you to just do that from your place of curiosity, witnessing yourself, and also allowing yourself to feel kind of weird, or maybe it's gonna be like too much, or maybe another story comes in, all that guilt shows up. Just be there for you. And then after all these movements that again require quite a bit of energy to digest. So that's what we're doing. We're digesting that energy through the body, metabolizing. So essentially I want you to visualize it's like you're eating food, and in your body there are so many systems involved in digesting that food, right? And that's what we are doing in those movements. We're using a posture, we're using a sound, we're using that activation and deactivation to help us metabolize that energy. And then after you're done with these movements, come back to more of the gentle practices that you used in other videos, which would be like your hug, your touch of the face, just again, connection to the head and the heart, just doing simple touch and coming to that connection and regulation, so that you allow your nervous system to kind of come up and out and in between. So like that rhythmic pulse we are creating, okay? And then just take a moment to reflect. How does it feel to work through this high level activation that I've trained my body and nervous system not to experience? So that's why titrate your practices. Maybe it will be 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Like if you're doing it for a minute, that's too much, right? But again, maybe you will build up your capacity. Like, can I actually work through all these movements for a minute and how that feels? Do I feel the capacity to handle it before I go? It's like, oh my God, what I'm doing? Or collapsing down, it's like, oh, how horrible, right? So finding that rhythm with compassionate heart, with being present, loving presence, lots of loving presence. So yes, if you have any questions, obviously reach out. But make sure that you reflect and notice how it feels in your body after you do this work, so that you keep reconnecting. And yeah, take notes. And then come back again and do it basically for a whole week. That's your work with that mobilizing energy. It's a sympathetic energy, which is essentially the same energy that we employ for play, like to be playful, to dance, to go do something we like hiking. So that's the same mobilizing energy. And then working with both aspects of it, because it's a spectrum, that's where your magic lies. And also that's how you can show up more and more aligned with what matters to you and what's important to you. And also when you look at the situation that makes you angry, perhaps you start noticing, oh yeah, it's not just about me, and it's not even about me. The situation that I am like trying to avoid, it actually needs attention. And then when you start moving from that connected state, and not just this like I'm not allowed to feel angry, you can actually start addressing it more from the aligned and empowered place of you. All right, well, happy journey with that.